Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Come on!
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Easter. Oh, it's not Easter. Tomorrow's Easter, but we're celebrating today because my little boy is here today, and he has to go back to his mother's tomorrow. So that's why I've got the pink shirt on. If you're on Zoom or live.
I don't know if there's actually a connection between pink and Easter.
It's like part of like the Easter parade. What's the Easter parade? That's in your Easter
They all
bonnet
dressed
with
in
all
pink?
the trims upon it. You dress up fancy for Easter.
Oh, it's just fancy.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I thought pink and yellow were part of it. But anyway, today's the more solemn day. Today's actually Holy Saturday.
Okay.
Today's the day where there's a little bit of grieving and it's like sad. It's like no, I'm looking for Wikipedia. It's going to talk about. Oh, you got it. Okay. Wikipedia is the day that commemorates the harrowing of hell.
Wikipedia is? It's Wikipedia
Holy
Day.
Saturday is the day that commemorates the harrowing of hell while Jesus Christ's body lay in a tomb. So happy Holy Saturday. Can you say that? Happy Holy Saturday? How do you have a happy Holy? How about thoughtful Holy Saturday?
Solemn.
Have a thoughtful, solemn Holy Saturday.
Solemn Saturday.
Tomorrow's the big day. Christ is resurrected.
Okay. And
So-
jelly beans and marshmallow peeps come out.
That's how the resurrection was celebrated. That's how the pagans celebrated it, at least. They
Let's
had
see.
marshmallow rabbits and jellied eggs.
All right.
And then the chocolate industry stepped in there, and they came over. It was
All right,
great.
Rogan.
Yeah.
All
Anyway.
right. What's next?
Sarah made all these incredible, like, she makes her own candy, too. I didn't realize this about you.
Right.
She made, like,
You don't realize that.
healthy, vegan Reese's peanut butter eggs.
It's interesting that you don't realize that, Raghunath, because once on Christmas when she gave me a whole collection of those candies, you claimed it was from you, but apparently you don't even know that she makes that
Sort
kind
of
of
like
thing.
put my hand on it while she was handing it to you to get credit for not getting you anything. Yeah, and you gave me a
Alright.
nice jacket, and I gave you just my hand on her. Sorry about that.
No, you actually gave me prasadam, so that was
Okay.
far more valuable, actually.
Okay. Well,
Made with,
anyway,
infused with marriage devotion.
it was
to
she
the
did a lot of
Lord.
devotion,
Yeah.
and she made really nice Easter baskets for everybody this morning. We're going to
Oh.
celebrate. So anyway, here live with Lori Pag and the Chief, and Maya. They're live today.
Oh, great.
Got some good news. We had a brainstorming yesterday, and guess who's coming to India with me? It's Kastuba Das. So if you're interested, it's going to be an official Wisdom of the Sages pilgrimage this year as we go to Jagannath Puri and Udaipur and Rishikesh. So if you're interested in India, go to our website or go to my website. It's not on the Wisdom of the Sages website yet. Raghunath.yoga. Or email raghu, raghu.pilgrimage@gmail.com.
Are the dates set for that?
Dates are set.
What are the dates?
I'm not telling you. You're gonna have to wait and figure it out.
All right.
October 17th through 31.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Excited. Excited to have do this with you. Like, we haven't
Oh, that
done
almost
pilgrimage.
sets me up for another 5 months in India.
I know.
Because if Gita Priya is still with her mother at that time, there's no point in me coming back, really.
Yeah, why be in New York? Just stay there.
Yeah.
I'm coming back for Thanksgiving.
All right.
Anyway, enough of our personal life. Let's go.
Yes.
Today's Q&A day. If you're new to the show, welcome. If you're listening on Facebook, welcome. This is our daily yoga podcast of studying yoga philosophy of bhakti yoga, how to connect the soul, which is sort of lost in the material world, desperately trying to fall in love with matter, yet it's actually looking for source.
Source.
And yeah, source. It's no way to say God. That's how we become sorcerers, probably.
Okay.
I love that. So anyway, we're here, and every Saturday we do questions and answers from our audience. So we have a whole list of questions we're going to go through. We're going to try our best. We got over 1,000 episodes. If you don't know where to begin, start today, or
It's
maybe
nearly
go back to the
1,300
beginning.
episodes.
Go back to some people like to go back to the beginning. Some people like to do both. Some people like to binge while on long drives. Do whatever you like. It all works. It's like eating a banana. You can eat at the top or the middle or the bottom. It all is sweet stuff, because the sweet stuff is coming from the Bhagavatam itself, from the sages, not us, the actual sages.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go right to our questions, unless Mara's got some
I got
announcements I
some
missed.
announcements. Back to your cover group meetings today at 9:30, 11, and 12:30. And there's
Urban
no
Devi.
Yep, there's no show
Mhm.
tomorrow, but there is Urban Devi via the Bhakti Center at 11 a.m.
But only the ladies are allowed to attend. You have to tell them what Urban Devi is. They may not know.
Yeah, it's like, how are we supposed to know that? Well, we could figure it out. Urban, city women, Devi, goddess, urban.
But you don't have to live in the city.
Oh, you don't have to. Why call it urban then?
Talk to them.
Well,
You're not
I
allowed
don't know.
to
You'll
even
have to take
ask
it up
that
with the Bhakti
question.
Center.
We're going to have to rebrand them.
Yes.
How about just
You're not-
Davy? Davy's hanging out.
You're not allowed in there.
Anyway,
yeah,
it's an online sangha for women every month via the Bhakti Center website. The information's online, and this week the speaker is Rukmini Podar.
Oh, she's good.
She's-
You know, it
great.
was probably started in New York City at the Bhakti Center, and then when Zoom happened,
I helped
everything
brand that.
became public, and now you can like be living in the forest and call yourself an urban Davy, which is a misnomer, and I'm unhappy about it.
Let it go, Rhoda. Let it go.
I'm gonna die on this hill. Change your name.
Don't make them change
Okay,
it.
here's the here's
But
the
you got to go to
question.
bhakticenter.org to find that, because
Okay. Here's the question. This is from Ryan, a really nice guy who came on pilgrimage with me last fall. He's one of those guys who's just like a bright light himself.
Okay.
He wrote this question via email, which is, can you clarify the practice of japa? Japa is repetition of sacred names on Indian rosary, I like to call it. Even the rosaries came from the japa malas, which are ancient. There's 108 beads, and you would chant a mantra on each bead. So he said, can you clarify this practice of japa for a relative newcomer like me? Is japa synonymous with kirtan? Can other meditative practices enhance our japa? Or do they distract us from the main thing, right? The main thing here in the holy name. Is Krishna's love, this is another question, is Krishna's love inherent in the sound of the mantra or the purity of our intention? I feel the benefit of japa and kirtan in my heart. Any light you can shine on the subject is dearly appreciated. Really good questions, huh? If you haven't experimented with japa, we're going to encourage everybody to do it today. Take some time aside on this holy of holy days to sit with some beads. And if you don't have beads, just you know what I've done when I've lost my beads? I've made them out of a string. I've made them out of like a shoelace, a new shoelace, and I tie a knot. I tied 108 beads in a knot, 108 knots in a bead, and I just chanted on that when I was on tour and I lost my beads. But sit and try, and we chant the Maha Mantra on each bead. Okay. And it's different than kirtan. That's his first question, Kaustubha. Is it different than kirtan?
Is it synonymous with kirtan? Your answer is
Kirtan
no,
is you're
it is not.
singing, and the moon is you're singing. Oftentimes it's sung kirtan. We're singing with the sangha. We're singing all together and glorifying Krishna. And that type of chanting of Krishna's name can either be Nam Kirtan, where we're actually chanting the name, or Lila Kirtan, where we're chanting the pastimes of Krishna. When we say Yashoda Dulala Govinda Gopala, where we're singing these stories of Krishna's pastimes. That's a little bit different. Is Krishna's love inherent in the sound of the mantra? Oh, I missed this other. Why don't you answer that one first, Kaustubha? Is Krishna's love inherent in the sound of the mantra? How would you answer that?
Well, it seemed like that was there are two. The next sentence was part of that question, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Is Krishna's love inherent in the sound of the mantra or the purity of our intention? I'm not sure I fully understand this, but I think I may.
Like you just say the sound, Hare Krishna, or it's got to do with the intention. Oh, Krishna, come to me, like calling Krishna in.
Right. Yes. So I remember back when we were in Mayapur, it was on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's appearance day, 150th, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
That we read a quote from him that was really important. And that was that he said that when we chant this mantra, it shouldn't be just lip deep. It should be heart deep.
Okay, so that would say his question about intention has a purpose.
So if I'm understanding him correctly, in other words, we could be vibrating these syllables without actually vibrating the name of Krishna, right? There's a famous verse about Krishna and his name that's from the Padma Purana. It's quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. You know this one, Raghunath? You know the one I'm talking about? Little hot seat for you?
No.
Little solemn Saturday
Give me the
hot
first
seat.
word. Give me a first word. No.
Nama.
Give me the second word.
Chintamani.
Nama Chintamani Rupam.
Krishnas.
Krishnas.
Nama Chintamani Krishnas. Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha.
Okay, I didn't know any of it.
Give me all 32 words.
I don't know any of it.
Okay.
The hot seat should be the humiliation seat. Let's change the name.
Nama Chintamani Krishnas. Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukto. Binitvam Namanamino. So if we want to understand the Nama Tattva, if we want to understand what is Krishna's name, this is an important verse to consult, right?
Mm-hmm.
The holy name of Krishna. This is something for people that are new to this culture and everything, may just sound very unusual and strange, right?
Yeah.
And maybe some of the later questions kind of relate to this, is that within this theology and philosophy of Vedanta, and you could say of Bhakti Vedanta, the understanding of it as the Bhakti yogis understood Vedanta, or as they understand Vedanta, they explain that essentially there's material energy and spiritual energy. Mm-hmm. Our bodies are made of material energy. Our minds are made of material energy. We are made of spiritual energy. Krishna and his entire realm are made of spiritual energy, and Krishna's name is made of spiritual energy. And this is the part that's difficult for us to wrap our heads around. In the material realm, there's an object, and the object has a name, and those things are kind of arbitrary. In other words, it's arbitrarily that name was granted to that object, right?
Right.
We have
this a piano.
Yeah, yeah. It's
what?
It's the name has been arbitrarily attached to that object. It could have been any other name. In other languages, they'll attach other names to that object.
Different parts of the country, or different countries, right? The boot, the trunk.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, I see.
A fiddle, a violin.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but it's sort of arbitrary, and sometimes it changes over time.
Sure. And it's not that it couldn't have more than one name, but the idea is that with the spiritual energy, the name and the object of the name are non-different. They are one. It's something, it may require some faith in the beginning, but as one contemplates over the course of time, it all begins to make sense. And the idea is that we can commune with Krishna the most accessible way. When we're stuck here in this material realm, and the most accessible, and Krishna's here, he's everywhere. He's in our heart. He's in the heart of every living being. But we have difficult accessing him there. Even though he's right there, as close as can be.
Right there. It's like it was like an aquarium. You're like trying to grab the fish. And you're like,
you're right there, but I can't. Yeah, so close and yet so far. But so even though he's right there within us, we have a difficult time accessing him, being aware of that. Mostly we walk around out of touch with that. So it's said that the most easily accessible form or manifestation of God that we can access, connect with, is that name.
The sound, right?
The sound, yeah.
And this is not material sound. It's not, there are positive sounds, uplifting sounds, affirmations in this world. And there's, of course, negative sounds and gossip and criticism, but this is actually transcendent. And you made this good point about the most readily available through contemplation, but it's also readily available through practice, just doing it. Like if you're having a crappy day, you just sit down and add transcendental sound. Yeah. Just a few moments. And that's why there's so much emphasis on japa. And sometimes people fight it. I can't get into it. Don't fight it. Don't fight it.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Take pleasure in it.
Learn what will it do to develop a taste for it. Just like any other thing that's difficult. I hate whatever. A restricted diet, or I hate jogging, but I know it's good for me, or stuff like that. Yeah, you got to work through those steps where it's a burden, and then you feel like, I can't go a day without my morning run.
Okay, so not only is that sound of Krishna's name spiritual energy, it is Krishna. That's the idea. So this is the verse, the holy name of Krishna is transcendently blissful. Or by nature, it is bliss, right? It bestows all spiritual benedictions. There's nothing lacking in it in any way. It can give you everything. It will give you everything. For it is Krishna himself, the reservoir of all pleasure. Krishna's name is complete. And it is the form of all transcendental mellows.
Mellow.
In other words, all rasas. What that's referring to is there's so many ways and blends of ways that one can love.
Sure.
And Krishna can be loved in all of those ways. And this name, this name is composed of all of those mellows. In other words, it is the form of all of those mellows. All of those types of love are there in that name. It is not a material name under any condition. And it is no less powerful than Krishna himself. Since the name is not contaminated, it's not corrupted in any way by the material qualities, temporality or misery or depression or those, there's no question of its being involved with Maya, with the illusory energy. It's not of this world. It's completely, entirely spiritual. Krishna's name is always liberated and spiritual, right? It's liberated. It's not like, in other words, we call that thing a piano now, but you come back a million years from now, they're not going to call it a piano anymore. It may not even exist, the piano, right? But here. Krishna's name it's not conditioned by the laws of material nature. It's eternally Krishna. This is because the name of Krishna and Krishna himself are identical. So one has to think about that, contemplate it, return to it, keep reading these books, think about it again, and for it to begin to become, you begin to see it in new ways and understand it more deeply. And that's something that can go deeper and deeper and deeper. I chant your name. That's not a squirrel. This is the exact subject right now.
No. I'm about to make a big squirrel on you.
No, don't do it. That's not what that squirrel is for.
Pause for a second.
That squirrel is for stopping squirrels.
You think that in 100 years, people are going to even play the piano? Will playing the piano in 100 years from now seem like the equivalent of driving down a road and you see some Amish guy in a horse cart? Like, what the hell are they doing?
They're going to put that piano away.
The piano. Oh, I've heard about those.
Well, like the harpsichord is practically gone.
The harpsichord's practically gone. Well, here's another thing. Mara looked at this box on the seat today, and she's like, "What's that box?" I was like, "I bought my son a record player because I had old records.
I saw that.
I had records that people that I want him to listen to, my old records and stuff like that.
Do you want him to listen to your old
Well,
records?
I don't really, but he was like, "Hey, can I get a record player?" And he bought a couple records or found a couple old records, and that lasted about 20 minutes because the idea is like, who would go through all this just to listen to music? Who would go through all this? And it's skipping and it's popping. And I was like, yeah, I get it now. Like,
all those higher quality
who would look
sound
at a map instead of just using maps? You open a road map and it's like, it doesn't even tell you where to go. You got to figure all that stuff out yourself.
There are going to be people that are very much against what you're saying right now. There are going to be those vinyl
there
enthusiasts.
are. It's the old generation people. But the new generation, people are like, oh, this is archaic. I'm actually looking at a map to try to figure out where you live.
Okay.
Give me a break. First, if I want to go to Linda's house in St. Pete, I got to first get a map of how to get to St. Pete. Then I got to get a St. Pete map. Come on.
Okay.
Oh, I love when people try to give you their address. Oh, yeah, look, you got to take a right here, take a left here. I was like, you don't have to tell me these things. You think I'm going to jot this down in the back of a envelope?
Well, I haven't had a driver's license since like 2008 or something. So like I'm kind of a pre-GPS person in terms of driving.
Yeah. What to speak of if you live in LA, you got the Thomas Guide. You know what that is? The Thomas Guide?
No idea.
Oh my God. Everybody in LA has a big fat book of the streets of Los Angeles.
Okay, Ragnar, this squirrel has gone far enough.
Yeah. Okay, let's kill the squirrel.
Okay, so
Easter, don't say that.
Getting back to the question was, is Krishna's love inherent in the sound of the mantra or the purity of our intention? In one sense, is Krishna's love inherent in the sound of the mantra? I don't think he's asking the question this way, but the first point we want to make is, well, yes, because it is Krishna. And so Krishna's love is there. You access Krishna's love by chanting his name. That's there. But I think I think the question is like you were saying originally, Raghunath, that if I chant that name, is Krishna's love or is Krishna necessarily there? And the point that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was making was just the syllables themselves can be material, right? They can be of this world. Huh. But when it's also,
you got people like
Kamsa.
You got people like Kamsa who are saying, Krishna, Krishna. Well, I hate Krishna. It's having an effect on him, but it's not having a...
Yeah, and even that, I mean, there's a whole science to this name, but yeah. But here's the point I wanted to make was what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was saying was that from the spiritual realm, one's heart becomes moved towards Krishna, becomes affectionate towards Krishna. And then when the name comes from there, from that heart, and comes out through the lips and the mouth, then that is Krishna. It's non-different from Krishna. And when you hear that name, you are accessing Krishna. You can make it happen yourself. So this gets back to the previous question where he said, can other meditative practices enhance our japa, or do they distract us from the main thing? Absolutely. These other meditative practices can enhance your japa, particularly hearing Krishna's leelas, hearing about Krishna's pastimes, reading Bhagavatam, reading 10th canto Bhagavatam. The idea is that through accessing that spiritual energy, that is also non-different from Krishna. It's like this, like this verse said. Let's think about this, right? It said that since Krishna's name is not contaminated by material qualities, Krishna's name is always liberated and spiritual, right? Meaning it's free from the defects of the material energy, the lower energy. That means that it's eternal. It's not affected by time. Like for instance, you take a book, the Srimad Bhagavatam in the book form, right? Now, I could hold that up and say, Raghunath, this book right here is entirely spiritual. And you might say, what are you talking about? It looks like material energy to me. Material energy means that it's in one form now, and over the course of time, that form shifts and the ingredients separate. Yeah, it's reducible.
What does that mean?
Yeah, and I could say, well, you're not understanding what I'm talking about, because it's like if I held up "Be Here Now," or not when I say "Be Here," you know what I was thinking of? Not "Be Here Now." "Eat, Pray, Love."
Eat, pray, love. That's different than be here now. Much
Well,
different.
"Be Here Now." Yeah, I want to get into that one. Would be more debatable. But let's say "Eat, Pray, Love," or
why don't you just make it even worse? Eat, pray, love, because they do go to an ashram and eat, pray, love, and they pray.
But still,
pray is part of the title.
"Eat, Pray, Love" for me is still firmly within the material realm. But if you want to take something else, let's say Don Quixote or something, I don't know, whatever.
Don Quixote has a spiritual.
Does
twist.
it?
Let's keep it real mundane.
Okay. Moby Dick, how's that?
Moby Dick is very deep.
Is there anything that's not spiritual?
Deeper. I mean, more mundane, less deep.
All right.
How about Sports Illustrated?
Okay, a copy of Sports Illustrated, right? Now,
swimsuit issue.
It's not only that copy of Sports Illustrated, like the magazine itself, over the course of time is going to disintegrate, but the message within that magazine, the meaning of it, what's conveyed through it, all of that's going to disappear too. It'll be gone.
Right.
You know, you come back, you know, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 100,000 years from now, everything that magazine conveyed will have, it will, like a mist, it'll just be gone. It'll be untouchable. Whereas when you hold up the Bhagavatam, granted, the ingredients of the form of the book are going to separate. They're reducible. But the message of the Bhagavatam is eternal. That's what when I'm holding up the book and I'm saying this is eternal, that's what I'm talking about. It's Krishna's Leelas. They exist eternally. They never disappear. And so you bring that spiritual energy into your heart by reading Bhagavatam. That's a meditative practice.
Mm-hmm.
And when you hold that in your heart, now when you chant that name, you're not chanting it just with your mouth, you're chanting it with your heart. And now you're chanting Krishna's name for real, not just the syllables, but the actual name. Just like the book is one thing and Krishna is another. The name is one thing, right? The syllables of the name are one thing and Krishna is another. You with me? Did you get that? You follow me? You look confused. Okay. So the point is those syllables, when you chant them, Krishna is conveyed through them. And when we chant them from the heart, when we chant them with love and affection for Krishna, we are most powerfully transformed through that. And so, yes, please read Bhagavatam, read Krishna's Leelas. That will enhance your japa. If you're like, I chant this japa and it's really boring, it's because your heart isn't full of affection for Krishna. Like when you say the name Tarun, or someone says the name Tarun to you, your son's name, it touches your heart in a way that it would not touch the heart of someone who doesn't have a relationship with him the way that you do, that doesn't hold love, because you hold love in your heart for him. When someone says the name Tarun, your heart goes, ah, you have a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so similarly, by reading Bhagavatam, we fall in love with Krishna. And when we hear the name, you know, so if we chant the name and it's dry, it feels dry to us, it's because we have no love for Krishna in the heart. And we can nourish that love through hearing Bhagavatam.
I'm going to add two things to your statements, or to your points, which were also very insightful.
Thank you.
Insightful for myself too, not just like for the audience out there. But one is, and you may not agree with this, or you may not have done it, but I do, like this morning, I did pranayama before I chanted Japa.
Oh, Mr. Fancy over here. Was it a secret pranayama?
Call me Fancy Doty if you want.
Was it a secret pranayama?
It wasn't
or
a
just
secret
like
pranayama. It was a sort of a standard. It's a calming pranayama.
Okay.
Instead of calming pranayama, because sometimes I got too much stuff going on in my mind. It's a nice calming. Settle it down. Settle it down, and then invite Krishna, Radha and Krishna into your heart. So it's not just to settle the mind, but it's also to create an atmosphere where Radha and Krishna want to enter.
I like it, Raghunath. I like
that.
it.
All right, Kastuba, you like that? You do it now.
All right.
You going to do it today?
I don't know the pranayama. I used to. It's been a long time.
I'll teach you. I'll be your guru if you like. I can help you. That's the snorting cocaine movie. Don't do that one.
Well, how do you do
Hare
it again?
Krishna.
Do it like
and
this.
I said that on Holy Saturday. Hare Krishna. All right. Anyway, another thing I wanted to say was, yeah, and devotees, we're dealing with material realm, but this material realm, it can flick back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The devotees become the alchemists. Where we touch matter and engage matter back in service of God, and then that matter becomes spirit. It's the sound, how we chant the sound. We're using this things that appear like matter, material sound vibrations, but it's actually a spiritual potency. But taking material things and using them like a flower's material, you can find those elements of a flower and or say words, right? You can like again, we have like a Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, and you could be that could bring lust in the heart. But then you have the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which can make you uncover your deepest spiritual self and liberate you from the body, mind, and senses. You take a harmonium, which is nothing but matter, but you can sing songs in that harmonium and use that. All of a sudden, that box, that piece of wood, becomes spiritualized. The yoga studio, if you're a yoga teacher, it could be in a strip mall. It doesn't even have to be. But if you're using that yoga studio to have transcendental sound coming out of your mouth, the sounds that are coming out of your mouth are transforming that place into an ashram. People are actually taking shelter. What do you think about that, Kastuba?
Very nice organized.
Alchemist.
Very nice.
You like that? The alchemist.
I like it. The alchemist.
Sorcerer. You like that one?
Not as much.
Pranayama.
Okay. When you do your pranayama, do you sit up nice and straight?
Yeah. Sit up, erect back.
Yeah.
Drop the chin.
I could see you doing that. I could see you sitting there.
Yeah.
Doing that pranayama.
Eating.
In front of your altar, right? Is that where you do it?
I was doing it in the sauna, truthfully.
Are
you kidding? That's like a yogi sitting around a circle of fire.
Okay.
Come on.
Burning ring of fire.
Throw me a chocolate bunny. Okay.
Next question.
Continuing on. Miss Mara, where did you do with these questions? Okay. This is from Danielle. She's one of our regular Zoomers. You want to be a regular Zoomer? You can be, but you need the secret codes. You got to email Mara, wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. She'll send you the codes to enter our spiritual clubhouse every morning. And we're hard to track down because we travel a lot, but we have a special threads that go out and tell you, okay, today we're shifting the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Danielle says, basic question. How do you understand the meaning of taking shelter of Radha or Radha and Krishna? What does it mean to, quote, take shelter? And how does one take shelter? Also, what does serving Krishna look like in the spiritual world?
These are great questions today.
Great question. Let me jump into the first part of that quick.
All right.
Here's how you don't take shelter of Krishna. How about that? We'll start with the opposite. Things are going tough in my life. I lost a bunch of money. It looks like I'm getting audited. I owe back taxes. I lost a shoe while on a hike. Okay, so different things are going wrong. My child's run away from home. Things like this can get you so frustrated and feel so much emotional pain that I want to medicate that pain. I want the pain to go away. And I use something like drugs or alcohol or marijuana to deaden the pain so I don't have to feel any longer. That's how we don't take shelter. That's how we take shelter of a drug or alcohol, etc. Sometimes we use romance to it, like life is miserable, but you can make my life perfect. There's so many ways we can not face what's going on in this world. But real spiritual path makes us accept that we can't stick our head in the sand. Fake spiritual paths, and sometimes if we're doing it wrong, we think, well, I'm just going to stick my head, and God loves me, I'm going to be okay. No, you got to actually face off your demons. You got to control your senses. You got to see yourself as a spiritual being, and you got to act in that way. So there's a lot of regulation of the senses and the mind, which want to take shelter of the mundane. And to take shelter of Radha Krishna in those times of stress, those times of the sinkholes of human existence that we go through. Like that. Then we turn to Krishna. Oh, Krishna. And it might mean I'm going to sit here and meditate on Krishna's name. It might mean I'm going to read the Bhagavatam. It might mean I'm not going to zone out and just, we all have a go-to type of, okay, this is downtime. Let Krishna be your downtime. Go to Krishna. Talk to Krishna. Pray to Krishna. Speak to Krishna like a friend. And throw your hands up in the air. Oh, Krishna, what would you like from me? Krishna, how can I serve you? This is practical ways of taking shelter of Krishna. This morning we did it in different ways. This morning we did it in different ways, From, we did a puja. We chanted prayers to Krishna, before the show started. I chanted Japa.
So many ways.
So many different ways. Even stuff you do to take care of your own body. If your meditation is, this body is Krishna's body, I got to take care of it, like you're cleaning a temple. I took my 3-minute freezing cold shower today, but I was doing it for Krishna.
Nice.
Welcome. Like that?
I'm not sure if he enjoyed it or not.
Krishna care. I didn't do it for Krishna's enjoyment. I did it so I could be a better servant, so I could be sharp on this podcast.
Gotcha. Nice. Right? You are sharp this morning, Ragnar.
Yeah. 3-minute cold shower. Do it. You like it? You do it now.
All right.
All right. Do it after the show. You promise me?
I don't promise.
Thank you. Promise.
Maybe tomorrow morning I'll do it.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna ask you tomorrow morning.
All right.
Okay. Do you want to go on with that? What's your take on?
We can go on a long time with this question, Ragnar. This is a very good question. What does it mean to take shelter of Krishna? Because we throw these terms around, but it's important. That's part of why I like this question, because it's kind of like, you know what? I've heard this many times, and my tendency is just to like nod and say yes, yes. No, but what does that mean? That's good. That's a good question, right? What does that really mean? Yeah. So what does it mean? So, so we could go into so many places in our shastras, in our sacred texts to address this, but I think maybe the first place that came to my mind was 9th chapter of the Gita. No. Yeah, before that. There are a couple verses, 2 or 3 verses, where it talks about people taking shelter.
Give me a hint.
Where contrasting shelters, right? The word ashrita, like ashraya, even like ashrama. I believe all these words are connected, right? Like, what is an ashram? It's a shelter, right? Shelter means like there's something that I need protection from. There's something some refuge that I find, right? Where do I put my refuge? Where do I find my refuge? And so if we go to text 12 of chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita, it says, the interesting verse, moghasha moga karmano, moga jnana vichetasa. Moga reminds me of old our friend.
Old friend Moga.
Mogaji. Rakshishim asurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shrita. So this is a verse that's like saying prakritim mohinim shrita, that they are taking shelter of the, like, moha means, Ragnar?
Moha?
Yeah.
Illusion.
Yeah, or even like bewilderment, right? Like, yeah.
Totally bewildered.
Yeah. And prakritim mohinim then means?
Bewildered by the material energy.
Yeah, or the bewildering material energy. Prakritim mohinim shrita. They've taken shelter. They've taken refuge in the deluding material energy.
It's a good one, huh? It's a good, right? What a great way to explain.
Yeah.
Material existence. Taking shelter of an illusion.
Yes, and it mentions 3 ways that illusion, that where that fails one. It says moga asha, baffled in their hopes. Moga karmano, they're baffled in their works in this world, right? Like, in other words,
why they're working. They don't even know why they're working. They're baffled.
Or they think they have a plan for happiness through good karma, right? Like, that means I'm taking shelter. Like, essentially the question is, where will I find my happiness, right? How will I avoid misery and find happiness? And wherever I Look for that. That's what I'm taking shelter in. That's what I'm taking refuge in. So some people, like the Vikarmis,
Oh, those
right?
V-karmies.
That Vikarmis means they have no knowledge or faith placed in any sacred text or any teaching like that. They think the goal of life is I'll find happiness just through reckless sense gratification.
Yeah, been there, done
without any direction. So they're taking shelter of the connection of their senses with the material energy. They're taking shelter in the diluting material energy. That's their shelter. I'm going to find my refuge there. Then it says, this was an interesting mogaha karmana, baffled in their fruitive activities. Even if I'm a karmi, not even a Vikarmi, even if I'm a karmi, I'm saying, like, the Vedas give me directions on how to cultivate good karma through behavior, through ritual, through sacrifice, etc. Then I'm placing I'm taking refuge in this material energy again. This material energy will deliver my happiness, and it will be my shelter. And then it says moga jnana. They're baffled in their knowledge, right? They're baffled in their hopes. They're baffled. When it says in their jnana, it means even if they're seeking like moksha through jnana, through renunciation. Knowledge comes with renunciation. I let go of the things of this world, and I'm thinking that's my refuge. I'll find refuge there. I'll take shelter of that. But in a sense, it's saying by the power of my yoga or by the power of my renunciation, I'll find peace and I'll transcend this world. And Krishna is saying they become baffled in all of those. None of them ultimately work. They may seem like they're working for some time, and then it doesn't work. So these people are being deluded. That's the idea. And then the next verse, very famous one. You know the one I'm talking about? It counters this one.
Give me a hint.
If I give you a hint, you'll get it.
Give me one word.
How about one syllable? I'll give you one syllable. Ma.
Okay. That's all you're gonna give me.
Ma.
That's what I just said.
What? No, it's not. No.
Oh, manavas.
Mahat.
Mahatmanas tumam parta.
There you go.
There
Next line.
Mahatmanas tumam parta. Jnana.
No. Daivim prakritim.
Daivim prakritim ashritaha.
Okay. So here's the point. And the previous verse says prakritim mohinim shrita. Ashrita, they take shelter of the deluding material energy. This one says mahatmanas. What are the mahatmas?
The atmas, the maha-atmas, the great souls.
Great souls, maha-atmas.
Great
Mahatmanam tumam parta daivim prakritim ashrita. The daivi prakriti, the spiritual energy, right? That higher, godly, spiritual, divine energy. Daivim prakritim ashrita. They take shelter of that divine energy. So that means, in other words, they're not thinking, you know what? I'm going to find my refuge in life. I'm going to find happiness. I'm going to find freedom from suffering and miseries through my yoga prowess, through my renunciation, through enjoying this material world. I'm going to build a big house. I'm going to arrange the material energy so that I'll have shelter. I'm going to get the right job. That'll give me shelter from suffering, and it'll give me happiness in life. I'm going to marry the right person. That'll give me shelter from suffering. I'm trying to take shelter in all these different ways. And then again, when it comes to these sacred, I could do it through renunciation. I have as a powerful yogi, I will liberate myself from this material energy. Krishna is saying none of those work, but the great souls, the Mahatmas, they take shelter in the spiritual energy. What does that look like? And he begins to describe that. Bhajant yananya manaso. They worship me with undeviated minds, right? They've lost interest in the things of this world. Their mind goes to me. Gyatva bhutadim avyayam. Knowing me to be the origin of all beings and imperishable, right? This is like a worthy shelter. This will work. Satatam kirtiyantamam. How does it manifest? They're always chanting my glories. Atantas cha dridhavrata. They endeavor in their devotion with great determination. Namasyantas chamam bhaktya. Right? Namaste. They're offering their loving with bhakti to me. They're offering their namaste with love in their hearts to me. Nitya, and this is the conclusion of the description. What does it look like taking that shelter? Nitya yukta upasate. Through this devotion, nitya yukta, they're always connected to me. Right? That I'm moving through this world, nitya yukta, and never at any moment am I disconnected. Just like a leaf, if at any moment it becomes disconnected from the tree, it just dries up.
It dries up.
But if it's always connected, it's always nourished, it's always vitalized by its connection to the root. And so Krishna is saying, nitya yukta upasate, because they've taken shelter in me, they're always vitalized. They're always spiritually vitalized. They're not bewildered. They're not, all their hopes and all of that is not bewildered. Rather it's realized through this eternal connection, nitya yukta. So, in one sense, I think the answer to the question goes right there to the bhajanchananya manaso. They worship me with undeviating minds, right? Like, this is kind of what it ultimately looks like. Their minds aren't, maybe I can find happiness here. Maybe I can find happiness there. Maybe I need this. You know what? That didn't deliver. Maybe I need this. I'm interested in that. I'm interested in that. No, they kind of fit. It's all right here, right? It's all right here. I can just, through Bhagavatam, through Bhagavad Gita, by getting to that root and in its multifarious, beautiful manifestations that are all part of that one, everything I need is there. I place my faith, and I have faith that by living that life, I have faith that by giving myself wholly to that original source, to that root of all existence, whatever I need will be provided for me. It also says that they endeavor with great determination. But the idea is that the results are always given to me by God. And so all I do is I do what's right in devotion to God, and I let God take care of me. That's taking shelter of Radha and Krishna. You are my shelter. I have no other shelter. Whatever shelter I see in this world is provided by you, and I accept it. This is kind of like, this is how that manifests may look different in your life than in my life and in someone else's life. But the devotion that's there is the same, right? Ultimately, everything is up to Krishna. Ultimately, I belong to Krishna. Ultimately, Krishna is my shelter. My protection from the miseries of this world, all that's in Krishna's hands, right? It's not something that I'm going to go out and do independently. It's something that's going to manifest through my giving my life entirely. And that may manifest by living in a mansion, it may manifest by living in a hut. But both of them are feeling the same internal thing. Krishna is my everything, like that. That's something like that.
That was something beautiful.
It is a beautiful idea. Nitya yukta upasate. Always connected. The word yoga comes from this yukta, right? Like the English word yoke, which means, like, if you have some
join.
Yeah, like a yoke is like if you have like a team of oxen or something like that, and you want them to pull a cart or something, then that wooden thing that connects their necks together.
That's the yoke.
That's the yoke, yeah. And so yoga comes from that because it means connecting two things, right?
Yeah.
And so this nitya yukta means we are always connected, yoked to that root of all existence, just as a leaf again is yoked to the plant, and therefore through the plant to the root of the plant. It's as simple as this. Just you started by saying source, Raghunath, right? Sorcerer. Become a sorcerer. Bhakti means I'm never disconnected. And it means, in one sense, sense, this whole idea of like, what does it mean to take shelter of Radha and Krishna? In one sense, it just means that we acknowledge the truth, just confirm the truth, as opposed to living in delusion, that we confirm the truth that I am dependent on the root of existence at every moment, right? I recognize that. I appreciate that, right?
We're not worried about it because my life is in
Yeah.
divine hands, and the divine hands is a benevolent energy, force, being.
Yes, right. Like if a leaf were on the tree and it was saying, "I don't need the root of this plant.
Stupid tree.
I'm independent and I'm on my own." It's like, no, you're not. Even in you're saying that as you say that, you're being nourished by the root of the tree. You don't exist without the root tree. And
there's
the
some
more
deeper
you try to
trust.
deny that, the more you suffer.
Like if Kostuba was to say, I'm fully taking shelter of Raghunath, that could be a problem. I have no food. I've got nothing in the refrigerator.
It has
pay the
happened.
bills. The heat's gone out. So, but you're fully taking a shelter of Krishna. You understand, like even in those tough times, that benevolent energy of Krishna has a greater plan, bigger than I can see.
Yeah. Yeah. We become as ridiculous and as deluded as a leaf that it's just like sometimes kids with their parents. I don't need my parents.
I don't need you. I'm out of here.
Yeah, but it's actually
like a rolling stone. Are you kidding?
Or like you say, like, okay, how are you getting out of here? I'm going to drive away in the car. You mean the car that I bought and provided for you?
That I'm paying the insurance
I mean,
on?
I really don't want to get into like a gender battle kind of thing here, but it's kind of like, there are really important ways that feminism has played a role in society, and there are ways where it's gone off track, in my humble opinion.
Stuba on feminism.
And sometimes, please don't cancel me, but sometimes, like, you see these things where like they're interviewing women and they say, like, we don't need men for anything, and it's kind of like, okay, but men have the house that you live in, men built it, they designed it as well. The car that you drive, that was a man that built that and designed it as well and invented it as well. There's, like, in other words, and in saying this, my point is we cooperate, we serve each other. We are complementary. But if we deny,
I've never seen a woman build a house either. Let's just get down on women right now.
No, but my point is, if we sit here and we say, I don't need God for anything.
Right.
But everything that you have is maintained by that source. You're just like a bewildered child that's saying, I don't need my parents. But your parents, meanwhile, are providing everything for you. Everything that we have, our body, our mind, even our existence, is dependent on that root, is maintained by that root. So taking shelter, that just means acknowledging what's true all along, and feeling it, And so, and that will, when one understands that deeply, you naturally take shelter of that. You naturally feel that shelter. All right.
Beautiful. Very, very beautiful.
Thank you.
All right. I think that's the show, my friend.
That's it. There's 2 questions
today.
That's
the show.
You have a happy Easter, Raghu.
Thanks. We're going to search for goodies in our eggs.
All right.
In their,
homemade goodies?
Plastic eggs that we got from China. But the jelly beans, which we get from China. No, we got Mara's homemade everything except the plastic eggs. Thanks for everybody for joining us. If you guys have not gone to our YouTube channel, that's one thing you can do to serve the podcast, which is go to the YouTube channel, like it, subscribe it, hit the notification bell, comment on any videos, share it with friends, especially if there's an episode that you like. Share it with somebody. Also, another big way you can help us is you go to Apple Podcasts and write a review. Give us a 5-star. It helps with the algorithms and getting the word out there.
We've been number 2 Hindu podcast forever.
Number 2. Let's go to number 1.
We were number 1 for like 2 weeks back in 2020. 2 or 3
That was pretty
weeks.
good.
That was great. But we haven't been there since. We've been stuck at number 2.
Number 2.
Forever.
Who's number 1?
Ramdas.
Oh, I'm going to take him out. Remember, it's not a competition, but if I see them, you got to do that. We got to climb.
If we got everyone on the same day to write a 5-star review, like if we got like even 2,000 people to do it in one day, I bet we would rise to number 1. We don't know how the algorithm works.
Remember, it's a competition, guys. It's all a competition. Speaking of competition, some people actually wrote me and said, guess what, Raghu? I ordered your book. Then I ordered another one for my mom.
They doubled it.
Yeah, Nityananda Chandra said that he ordered another one. So I'm here to say, if you did order it, thank you so much. And now I'm saying Christmas shopping, one-stop shopping at Amazon.com. Search for Punk to Monk. All your Christmas shopping, one-stop shopping, double it, triple, double that, and then double that.
Oh, we're all gonna
Double it.
Christmas shopping. What about Mother's Day?
Father's Day, birthdays.
4th of July, Memorial
Thea
Day.
Shop Street doubled it. Greg DeGasu is working on doubling it. Anybody else double it out there? Ahsoka Krishna, double it. 2 book minimum. How about
This
that?
is this, you took this as Prabhupada's Mahavakya. Like, of all the things that he said, this is the one that, since your book came out, this is the one that you
double it.
double.
I took double it from Flight of the Conchords.
All right.
The double it episode. All right, you guys, it's Easter. We're gonna go. It's a beautiful day for a beautiful day. Remember, it's Holy Saturday. No having too much fun.
It's holy.
Unless you're
Holy.
holy. Yeah, don't throw. Yeah, it's Holy Saturday, which is almost like holy, except the opposite in our moods.
There may have been some colors thrown here at Super Soul Farm. Maya.
Maya's throwing colors today. Do not throw colors on Holy Saturday unless it's holy.
Okay.
Beautiful day for a beautiful day. It's magical. Be a sorcerer. Be an alchemist. Haribo. Happy Easter.